Hello, my name is Vance. I'm a student with the Ron Paul Homeschool Curriculum, and today I'm here to share with you a story from Korean folklore. This story is called The Man Who Bought the Shade of the Tree. Here's how it goes. Once upon a time, there was an old merchant, and this old merchant lived in a big house. Outside of his house, there was a giant tree. With the help of the sun, there was no place that the shade of this tree could not reach. So, in the summers, when the days were hot, and all other people were fighting for the shades of the little trees in the village, the old man kindly walked out to his front yard and slept underneath the shade of his tree. He was so selfish that he wouldn't even share the shade of the tree with anybody else. So, one day, when the summer was very hot, or when the day was very hot, he went outside and he rested underneath the shade of his tree. When he fell asleep, a young farmer was so overworked by the heat of the sun that he couldn't help but sit underneath the shade of the tree and share it with the old man, even when the old man didn't know. The old merchant had woken up and he had seen the young farmer sitting next to him. He bickered and moaned, and he eventually yelled at him, "Why are you underneath the shade of my tree? This is my tree." The young man said, "No, this tree does not belong to you, it belongs to the people. So why am I not able to sleep under it like you are?" The old man brought up a point and said, "My grandfather's grandfather planted this tree on our farm. You do not have the right to sleep under this tree." And so the young farmer went away in agreement for the day. The next day, the summer day was even hotter, and the young farmer proceeded to come back while the old man was asleep. When the old man woke up, he bickered and moaned again, but before he could yell at the young farmer said, "Here, I will buy the shade of this tree from you for 5 coppers. The old man walked away and took the deal, laughing and chuckling to himself, thinking that the young farmer was a fool for buying the shade of the tree. The next day, the sun was even hotter, or the day was even hotter, and the old man couldn't go out to the shade of his tree, while the young man enjoyed the shade of the tree. When the sun was setting, the sun had moved the shade of the tree to where it went inside the old man's house. The old man was relieved to see that the shade was in his house, and he took a nap with the shade being in his house. Whenever he woke up, he found the young farmer walking through his house. The old merchant had yelled at the farmer again, saying, "Why are you in my house? You do not have the right to be in my house. This is not your house." The young farmer said, "I am not in your house. I am under the shade of the tree. Remember, I bought the shade of this tree from you for 5 coppers. The old man remembered their deal, and he tried to argue again, but the young man said, "I bought the shade of the tree, and so wherever the shade goes, I can go." The old man cannot argue against that, and so all he did was bicker and moan as the young man walked about his house like it was his own. And whenever the sun went down, the young farmer had to leave too. This continued day after day, with the young farmer walking into the old man's house, and the old merchant couldn't do anything about it. For months and months, over the next couple of months, the villagers in the town all heard of this, and they couldn't help but laugh at the old merchant every time they saw him. They remembered him as the old merchant who was foolish enough to sell the shade of the tree for 5 coppers. The old merchant became so embarrassed that he had to leave town and move to another one. And the young farmer automatically took possession of the house for no other reason but that he was the last one in it. I hope that you enjoyed this story like I did the first time it was told to me. Now, I don't understand any morals that the story gives, and I don't even know if there is one. Thank you.